Why does your scalp get itchy? And most importantly, how do you solve that problem? What is up, all of you awesome people? It is TheMunchBowl here, and today, how'd y'all feel if I had dreadlocks this thick? But yeah, if y'all didn't see that video, go check it out. It's how to get dreadlocks with straight hair, just so y'all know these are not real. It's actually dripping because I washed this. Don't ask why. You will know why if you saw the video. But aren't these cool? I mean, look at them. So let's just look at these. Appreciate these dreadlocks right here. Even though it's like fake hair, because look. Boom. Oh, what is that? Also, I got another dreadlock. It's a back combed dreadlock. Doesn't look as cool as the other ones because it's all smushy and stuff. Oh boy, my neighbor's here. Oh snap. It's time to run away. I feel like my neighbor thinks I'm weird, to be honest. Because like, it seems like every time I'm making a video, this dude is just out here. And I feel like he looks at me like I'm weird. And plus, when I was making that skit, if y'all saw that, a shout out to you. But like, when I was making that skit, the first attempt, or the first day I attempted to make that skit, he was just out there. He walked out, and I was like, "What's up, this 2K Johnny?" Then I heard this dude's door unlock, and I'm like, "Oh snap, I gotta." And yeah, I had like a chair set up with the. It was just a whole bunch of weird stuff going on. I was really doing the most to get that shot. Y'all have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. Like, my setup is like really ghetto, but I make it work. All right. But another little update of my stuff. I have my selfie stick curing with this Gorilla Glue. I really hope the Gorilla Glue works. I have this right here to steady it out, and I hope the glue thing is doing its job. But what do you know, here's my notes right here. I'm not gonna sit here in front. I've been kind of slacking on my notes just because some days it's like when you read, Satan is gonna attack you, because Satan won't attack you if you're already living bad. And that's why when a lot of people start following Jesus, that's when everything bad just starts to go down, because Satan is like, oh wait, you're mine, come back here. And that's when the fight starts. Because I thought it was all fun and games when I became a Christian. It just a little testimony. God came to me. I don't remember exactly what happened, but all I know is after that I was like, oh, I'm doing something really wrong. I have to like follow Jesus. I can't be living the way I am. And that was my first encounter with God. I thought it was all fun and games until the fight actually started, which is called spiritual warfare. Because if y'all don't know, this earthly realm isn't the only thing that's here. There's also a spiritual realm, but that's for alright, when I get to talk about this, y'all know I could talk a lot about it. If you have any questions on it, just DM me on Instagram. I got these notes right here, and basically what I read, it was basically this guy. God told him, don't eat, don't drink, don't go to this dude's house. And he was obeying. But this guy came on and said, hey, come eat at my house. And he was like, no, God told me not to do that. And he said, well, I'm a prophet, and God told me to tell you to come to my house and eat and drink. But the guy was a false prophet. But the guy listened to the false prophet, and he went to his house and ate and drank with him. And since that guy listened to what that man had to say, which I'm not saying don't listen to what men of God have to say. You could listen to men of God and all that stuff as long as they line up with the Bible and as long as they line up with what God told you. But that guy, he wasn't lining up with what God told him to do. He obeyed the guy rather than obey God. And that's a bad thing to do. Always follow what God told you to do, not what man tells you to do. Because that guy was a false prophet. He wasn't really a prophet. And because of that, a lion killed him. And the biggest thing is he sent his son, which is him, which is God manifested in the flesh, to die for all of our sins, to go through the suffering that we should have went through, but he went through it for us, so we might have life. So I encourage you all to pray to God, say, all right, I heard this munchbowl God talk to me about you. What's the deal? Are you real? Show me if you're real. And have an open heart about it, because if you're all, God's not real, but I'm going to pray to him to prove that he's not real, then he's not going to show himself to you, because that's called a hard heart, and he's not going to respond to people whose hearts are like that. Or he could, because like I said, God does what he wants to do. But anyways, that's that. Why does your scalp get itchy? And most importantly, how do you solve that problem? Now, trust me, or you don't have to trust me if you don't want to, but I have experienced a lot of dreadlock itching and scalp itching and all that stuff, especially in the earlier stages, which that's probably where a lot of y'all are experiencing it at. And from my understanding, from my experiences, because like I said this in another video, some hair expert is going to say something in the comments like, no, this is why. It's like, I'm just talking about my experience, all right, and how I solve it. But from my experience, my hair got really itchy when it was dry, but also when it was oily. So that kind of just contradicts itself. So what's the deal? Basically, when your scalp is dry, as a lot of y'all know, your scalp can get irritated, and when it's dry, it's basically like a desert. So it's going to be really uncomfortable up there. Now, in my mind, there's kind of like two different types of dries. One type of dry is when you get out of the shower, your hair dries, and then your scalp feels dry. That's not really when it gets itchy, at least for me. But then there's another type of dry where it's been a couple days since I last washed my hair, but my hair is still dry. Then it starts to itch, then it starts to flake and all that just nasty stuff. And that usually happens in the beginning stages of dreadlocks. And the reason that this happens in the beginning stages is because your hair is getting used to being in dreadlocks. Because you're probably not washing your hair as much, and in result, for some reason, your hair gets dry. And you can solve that with putting a tiny bit of oil in your scalp, and that will basically solve the problem. Make sure you like kind of heat up your head with kind of like a damp steaming towel, because that will open up your pores on your head, and then you can oil it, and the oil will go down into the pores and give your pores nutrients, so your hair can grow even better, and so you won't have an itchy scalp. But the whole reason that your hair does get itchy when it's like that is because, like I said, your hair is trying to get used to being in dreadlocks, and especially if you start washing your hair more. Because me, beforehand, I didn't wash my hair that often, and also with dreadlocks, I didn't wash my hair that often, but I started to wash my hair even more. If you wash your hair more and more and more, your scalp will get really dry, and be like, all right, what's going on? Because if you don't know, your scalp produces natural oils based off of your wash schedule. So say you wash every Monday or something like that. On Monday, after you wash, your hair is going to be dry and your scalp is going to be dry, but it's going to be a healthy kind of dry. And then over the days, the oils will build up, and you can even feel your hair now if it's a little bit, if it's a little while after your washing day, then you can feel that your hair is a little oily. And then say it comes to that next Monday, boom, you wash your hair, then it's dry again. But say you bump up your washing schedule and you start washing every 3 days, which is my washing schedule now. Your scalp is going to react weird because it's like it's not used to that, and your oils will have to come out at a different rate, and all that plays into itching scalp. But this leads into the other thing I'm going to talk about is, all right, your scalp is oily and it's itchy, so what do you do for that? You don't put oil on oil, do you? And yeah, this is something I tried out once, and I heard some other people talk about it, but I would just tell you how I handle it. It was one day in the summer, which is hot in the summer. Your scalp does not react that great to heat, especially with dreadlocks. It gets all itchy and sweaty, and sweat doesn't go well with dreadlocks either, so it just gets really itchy. Especially if you're using locking gel, that locking gel and product will make your hair itch. I tried putting oil on my head, which it did work for a little bit, but then it just started getting very itchy again. And I get that a lot of y'all are probably trying to keep retwists, but the best thing you could do for that is wash your hair. If your hair gets itchy and you find that your hair is a little oily, that means it's time to wash your hair. This has happened time and time again with me, and it's almost like every time I've had a retwist, like I've been so tempted to scratch my head, and that's because of the locking gel. The locking gel will probably make your hair itch because it's product on your scalp, basically, and that product will run down your scalp, and it isn't necessarily unhealthy for your scalp. Some people will debate if locking gel is healthy or not, but that's not what I'm going to debate right now. It is what I've known from my experience is locking gel makes your hair itchy, especially when you don't scratch it. That almost like makes it worse because you're going such a long time without scratching your hair and relieving that itch because you don't want to mess up your retwist. So you're patting your head, banging your hair, doing whatever to try to relieve the itch, but it just doesn't seem to be working. So that is when you either put oil on your hair and hope that helps, but the best thing to do is wash your hair. But I do understand that a lot of you probably won't want to do that because that will ruin your retwist or whatever. But from my experience with oily hair and your hair being itchy, your hair reacts the best and it cools off the best when you wash your hair. And also another thing with preventing itchy scalp, make sure that you have a healthy scalp, because a healthy scalp usually isn't an itchy scalp. Which I'm not saying if your scalp ever itches then you're unhealthy or your hair is unhealthy, but I'm talking about a healthy scalp won't really itch that much. Like my hair, it doesn't itch that much, and I haven't got a retwist in a while, which I'm not saying don't get a retwist, but I find that like if I just wash my hair and that's all I really do, then it works the best for me because my natural oils do produce a lot, so it's like I don't really even need external oils to put inside of my head. But say all your life you've been just loading oil onto your head, your scalp most likely is probably now dependent on those other oils in your scalp has probably stopped producing its own natural oils, or at least it doesn't produce it as frequently or as often. So if that's the case, if you wash your hair and your hair just gets extremely dry and your oils just don't build back up, then yeah, use external oils and that will solve all the itch and stuff. And also make sure you wash your hair after sweating. That helps, obviously. And just take care of your scalp. That's the biggest thing. Don't put too much tension on your scalp, because tension, like I said, with retwists, that's also another thing with retwist, because the tension on your scalp, it causes your hair to itch. And also it can form these things called tension scabs or tension bumps or something like that, to where like a pore on your scalp will like get inflamed, and this bump will form and it'll be very painful, and it'll start scabbing up and kind of bleeding, especially if you itch it, because it's typically going to itch in that area that the scab forms or the bump forms. And that's all because of tension. And really, I feel like the best thing to do with dreadlocks is to just, you know, not necessarily semi-freeform, or I guess people don't like when you call it semi-freeform, but no, don't twist your hair. But a lot of y'all, I know y'all love the fresh retwist look. I actually like it, but right now I'm like taking a break from that for a good while. And that just allows your hair to naturally flow out of your head without always having so much tension on it. And that all plays into having a healthy scalp. Now, I'm not an expert on having a healthy scalp, so I can't really tell you what you should do, except make sure you wash your hair and oil your hair as needed. But that's all I can really tell you on that subject. And also another great thing to do is massage your scalp. That's one thing I've kind of been doing lately. And that doesn't only promote blood flow to your head, which promotes growth, but it also just has so much relief. And when you wash your hair, make sure you get all the way down to the scalp and scrub it really well. Of course, don't do it to the point where if your dreadlocks are new that they will unravel, but make sure you just get to the scalp, because the scalp is the thing you want to pay the most attention to while washing your hair. But yeah, I know I covered a lot in this video. Hopefully those tips help y'all. That's just my experience with it. And just remember, not everyone's hair is the same, so some of the tips I named off will help you, or some of the tips I named off won't help you. You just have to know how your scalp reacts to certain things. And that's literally the whole basis of what I'm saying in this video, is my scalp reacts a certain way when I put too much oil in it, so I don't put much oil in it. My hair reacts a certain way when I twist it, so I try not to twist it as often, which right now I'm going a really long while without twisting it. But that's not even necessarily because of the itching thing or scalp hair. That's just because I want to grow out my hair and not twist it. And yeah, basically I just gave you all the tips based off of how my scalp reacts. But like I said, your scalp may react different, and you just have to play around with it, play around with different methods, because that's really all this dreadlock journey is looking at what works for your hair. Because like I said, everyone's hair is different. But anyways, I thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please make sure I like it. If I want to see more videos from me in the future, please make sure I subscribe and turn on post notifications so y'all never miss out on another video from me in the future. And with that being said, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video.